Let's design a full to-do list API in Anypoint Code Builder. No flows, no integrations yet, just a clean, reusable API spec that you can mock, test, and publish. This is the foundation of any good MuleSoft project, and if you're new to ACB or switching from Studio, this is a great place to start. From the ACB welcome screen, click on Design an API. Here you can select to create an API specification or an API fragment. In our case, let's just select API specification. We won't be using agent topics for this one. Let's just stick to the basics. We can name it something like to-do task API. API type is going to be REST. We won't be doing an async API, and the API specification language in this case is going to be OpenAPI 3 YAML. If you are already signed in, you can select a business group. In our case, we can just skip it. This is how it looks like when you are not logged in, so you don't even get the option to select it. That is totally fine. We will log in the future. So once we click on Create Project, this will open a new project with a basic api.yaml file where we will start defining our endpoints. Start by updating the basic info section, like the title, the version, and we can even add a description. For example, let's change the title to something like To-Do Task Management API. And then we can add a description, for example, something like this. This will be used when publishing to Exchange, so keep it clear and helpful. Now let's add our first resource, tasks. We'll support two methods here, a get to list all the tasks and a post to create a new one. Now for each one of these, we can add a summary and a description. Now for the get, we're using query parameters to allow filtering. To add query parameters, you just have to select parameters, specify where the parameter is. In this case, it's in the query. The name of this parameter is completed. The type is going to be a Boolean. And we can also add a description here to make sure we understand what this filter is doing. Now we can do the same for another query parameter. This is for the due date. You can add more filters if you want to. For now, let's just leave it like that. You can also use Control Space if you want to see a few options that you can select depending on where on the indentation you are. For example, right here, I can select responses. And if I open it up again, I can select 200. I also want to add a description here, and I want to start adding my content. In this case, application JSON. I'm going to define a schema of the type array. And the items that this array is going to have, I am going to define them in a moment. Now let's move on to the post. In this case, we are going to have a request body, so we can go ahead and select that. This has to be required, otherwise we cannot know what we are going to be posting. The content here is also going to be an application JSON, and we will also be defining the schema in a moment. Let's add the reference here for now. Same here. And we'll come back to this. Now for the post, we are going to have another response. Because we are creating something new, we are going to be returning a 201. The description is going to be task created successfully. And once again, we have the content application JSON. We're going to add a schema, and we will add the reference in a moment. You can also see here at the top in which level we are. We don't have to scroll up all the way just to see where we are. We can just keep scrolling down and we will be able to see all the nested resources that we have. So now we're going to define our second resource. In this case, it's going to be inside tasks and then task ID, so we can filter by one specific ID. And in this case, we're going to have a get, a put, and a delete. If we add some summaries and description, this makes a little bit more sense. Get a task ID, update a task, and delete a task. Now we need to add the URI parameter. So instead of having to each one of these and adding it directly there, we can add it at the top. Again, if we do Control Space, we will see our parameters. We can add an in, and in this case, we are going to select path. Then the name is going to be matching what we have here at the top. required true, and schema of type string. Now for the get, let's go ahead and add a response. This is going to be a 200. Let's add a quick description, and the content is going to be application JSON. The schema, we will once again come back here and add the reference to it. Because we are going to be using a URI parameter, let's go ahead and add a 404 as well, with a description of task not found. Now for the put, let's start with a request body. This is going to be required. Content, application JSON, and schema will be referenced in a moment. We're gonna have again two responses, the 200 and the 404. For the 404, we can just copy this. For the 200, let's add a description. Content, application JSON, schema, ref, and we will add this in a moment. Finally, for the delete, we're gonna have two responses, a 204 and another 404. For the 404, once again, description task not found. And for the 204, description tasks deleted successfully. So we're returning a 204 because this means that there was a success, but there is no body to return. Now let's find our data models, the task object and the task input used for creation or updates. So here in components, we're gonna add schemas. The first one is gonna be called task. This is of type object, and we will have several properties like ID. This is of type string, and we can add an example like 1. Then we have the title of the task. This is a type string and an example like buy groceries. Then a description of the task, a due date of the task, and a completed state. Here we're going to be adding a default of false. So every time that we create a new task, it's always going to be false because it hasn't been completed yet. So after we have our task, we're going to go ahead and add some required values. In this case, it will be ID, title, and completed. So we won't always need a description or a due date, but we always need to have an ID and then the title of the task and the completed state, either true or false. Now, because when we are creating a task, we don't have an ID, we cannot have this ID as required. So that is why we're going to be creating another schema, which we're going to call task input. So we're going to go ahead and add some properties to this. Type object. And we can actually pretty much copy paste everything, but the difference is that this doesn't have an ID, so we're gonna remove the ID from here and from here. There are other ways to not have to repeat this twice and just put it in another way that we can just like import it and reuse it, but we're gonna keep it simple for this example now. So we have our task and task input. We can go ahead and add them to our references. So first, when we are getting a task, we already know the IDs. So once again, Control space, and we're gonna select a task. Then we are creating a new task, we don't know, so we're gonna select task input. But once we send the task input without an ID, we will get back the result with the ID, which means that this is a task. Then when we get an ID, just 1, we already know the ID. So pretty much everything that is under task ID, we already know the ID because it is right there. So we're going to just keep adding task to all of these. Actually, not this one, because we know the ID, but we're not going to be sending the ID in our body. We're going to be sending it in the URI parameter. But we are going to respond the full task with the ID. And that's pretty much it. Now that we've written the spec, let's test it without writing any mule flows. First of all, let's save it with Command S or Control S if you're on Windows. So I'm going to make this smaller, and we can go ahead and press here on API console. This will show us the whole documentation that we have for this API specification. So for example, we have the different API endpoints, the task get post and the task ID get put delete. So if, for example, if we come here to task get, we can see how this works. So we have some code examples, the query parameters, like for example, completed and due date, and how the response is going to look like. We can then press here to see the list again, or we can go back to summary. And if we want, for example, to create a new task, this is what you should be sending. And this is what you would be having back, which is a 201. And for example, for the ones that had more than one response, like it is the get a task by ID, we have here a response of 200 if everything went well, or we have a 404, which is task not found. Another cool thing is that you can press here on try it if you want to get a feeling of how it would look like. So for example, task ID, you can select whatever you want. This is just a mock. So it's gonna send, and you're gonna receive a return back. For example, this 200. Okay, so this is not actually connecting to anything. If you see here the ID, this is ID 1, and I am sending 123 because this is just an example. It doesn't matter what value I send here. It's still gonna return this because this is just the example that I had set out. But you can use this to kind of, again, get the feeling of how this would look like. For example, here we have query parameters. We can show all of the optional parameters like the completed or the due date. We can also hide them and send this. And this is how it would look like. So for example, we can just show something like the completed true and the due date. But again, this is not going to return anything different, but you get a feeling of how this would look like. Or for example, the delete that does not return an actual response. You can say here something and you get a 204 not content. And you can also verify that all of the ones that you had selected with a task ID here are actually requiring the task ID. Like if you try to send it without any task ID here, it's going to return a bad request because you need to send the task ID. So that is also good for quick validations to make sure that everything is working correctly. You can also do a little bit more of formatting. For example, if you send here something random instead of a Boolean, you will receive an actual bad request saying like the invalid schema for the content type. And it actually tells you it's expecting a Boolean but found an integer. You can also send a string and you will receive type Boolean expected, but it found a string. So this is also good for quick validations to make sure that it is working as you are expecting it to work. So that's all for the API console. You can also use API governance, but for now, we're not going to be using this. I just wanted to mention that this exists, but this is a more advanced topic, so we can check that out in future videos. All right, final step. Let's make this spec reusable across your team by publishing it to Anypoint Exchange. Now, before we publish to Exchange, we will need to be logged in to do that. So you can either come here and click on not logged into Anypoint platform so you can log in, or you can go ahead and press here on publish API project to Exchange. You can also open the command palette, so Command Shift P or Control Shift P, and look for Exchange. You will see the publish API project to Exchange. So whichever one you want to use, you can just do any of those. Now it's going to ask you to log in. You can just click on allow and follow the prompt so you can log into Anypoint platform. Now that I am logged in, now it's going to ask me to select a business group. Remember at the beginning, we didn't select anything, so I can go ahead and click on that. Now take a look at this warning. It is asking me to add some rule sets and run validation, but for now, we're going to just keep it simple. So let's add an API version like B1. Business group is going to be ProsDev, the one that I had. And you can also take a look at the project metadata here if you want, or you can just minimize this. Finally, just click on publish. We finished publishing it. Let's select no to implement this right now. We're going to do that later. So now from your Anypoint platform account, you can go ahead and look for Exchange. And we can now see that our to-do task API has been published. Here we can see the same thing that we saw in the API console. We can see our API endpoints, and we can also try them out if we want on this side. Now, anyone in your organization can discover and reuse this API or scaffold flows from it later. That's how you design, test, or mock, and publish a complete OpenAPI specification in Anypoint Code Builder. No coding yet, but you're already ahead of 90% of Mule devs still starting with XML first. In the next video, we'll scaffold the flows from this exact specification and implement it step by step. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And if you hate any issues, you can book a free one-on-one session using the link in the description. All right, I will see you in the next video then. Bye!